It is Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John.
And I'm Richard.
Hey, welcome everybody. We have viewer mail for you today. Good old viewer mail. I'm going to have a little report on a convention I went to here in Southern California called Near Mint Sundays. A little unique, a little special. You'll find out why. 25-year rule, underrated books of the week, a little show and tell by request. But first, Richard, our hot book of the week. What is it?
Our hot book this week is The Boys Hero-gasm from 2009.
Wow. Okay.
I have to admit, though, I am not a fan of The Boys. I have not read The Boys to any great extent. I read the first 4 issues of the book when it first came out. Kind of lost interest. But this book is...
Look at the cover. Look at the cover.
Yeah, the cover is it's indicative of the storyline. This is basically a superheroic orgy. And it takes place in the world, the Boys universe. The 7, who are the primary superheroes of the world, go off to fight this alien presence and to defend the Earth. And everyone's cheering them, and as they and the other superheroes leave, in reality, they're going to a resort and having a giant superhero orgy.
Wow.
And by orgy, they are showing everything. Now, the reason why this is the book of the week is because The Boys TV show is now is to this point in the storyline and has an episode called Hero-gasm. And let me just to talk about the TV show. The showrunner said here, quote, "A recently released content warning for the episode described it as featuring airborne penetration, adult toy," I'm replacing the word for the censors, based maiming, extra strength lube, icicle male organs, and cursing, adding that it was not suitable for any audience. It's probably one of the most graphic hours of mainstream television I think anyone will have ever seen. I think you have to really turn to porn to see things that are more graphic.
Well, it's also the first appearance of Soldier Boy.
Yes, that's the comic book real point here. It's the first appearance of Soldier Boy. This cover is obviously pretty unique. There is a negative version of this cover, which is basically a negative version of the color scheme, and a retail incentive. The 9.8s for the retail incentive and negative go for about $250. For 9.8, the regular cover goes for about $190. There are 268 on the census of the cover A, but only 22 of the negative version. So if you come across the negative version, it's something I would probably focus on. There's a reprint in 2021 as well. It's an interesting story. I mean, if you follow The Boys, it's a world within a world, and it's some interesting dynamics. The sex that goes on in this book is really, I think, indicative of the lack of restraint that these characters have. They're superpowered beings. They can do anything they want. As a matter of fact, the lead bad guy, I can't call him bad guy. He's a lead superhero. He really is a bad guy. Basically says, I could do what I want. And that seems to be the theme of this particular book.
Note to self, check out The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Yes. There's a little bit for everyone. Let's just put it that way.
I think I said I have to watch everything first to get to that point. I don't want to, jump in mid-coitus.
My understanding is this. Well, let's put it this way: the show starts off initially with in the first episode or issue with the sex scene.
Oh, good.
It never slows down from there.
Excellent. Yikes! Good choice there. Our main topic this week is viewer mail. But before we get to our viewer mail, I went to a special show on July 3rd, Sunday, July 3rd. By the way, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
It is called Near Mint Sundays, and it happens 3 times a year here in Southern California in the city of Anaheim, here in SoCal. by Disney. This is a different kind of show. It's a show where collectors can set up booths to sell and trade, and very unique. Had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of people there. Here is a quick report.
I'm here with CJ, who is the founder and the guy who started Near Mint Sundays, right?
Yes and no, half and half.
What happened? What's the story?
I actually, really, this is pulled off through my wife. Yeah, she is the logistics and the brains and bronze behind all this, and I come with the energy and the ideas, and so yeah, so really only 50%.
Wow, shout out to the wife.
Judy, yeah.
Judy, okay, so where did this idea come from? When did it start?
All right, so honest truth.
Uh-oh.
We came here one day for a train show,
Uh-huh.
and it was just a bunch of nerds and their trains, and it was the best energy I've ever had.
Nice.
And nothing but good vibes, great people, and that's all I wanted. We would go to conventions, as everyone knows, no books, lots of guests, lots of signings, but not enough books.
Right, yeah, I hear you. So this is cool because it's like 100% comics, man.
Yes, 100%. Some of the biggest things for us was availability of just comics, right? So let's bring all collectors here. And the other side, collectors.
Yeah.
Collectors over dealers. We love dealers, but we're a big community. So let's bring us all together. Next thing, lower barriers. So free admission, free parking was a big thing. Bring everyone, family oriented. So
Killer. So when does this happen?
when does this happen? Currently, we're at 3 times a year. So we'll do one before con season, right now during con season, and then we'll end the year towards the holidays around November.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just tell everybody where it's at.
It's here in Anaheim, Brookhurst Community Center, City of Anaheim, great place. Anaheim, right? But yes, just local Central Orange County. Currently the only comic book only show in Orange County, and we're super excited to be here. Thank you.
We are enjoying it very much, so good job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Is this your book?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Introduce yourself.
Comic book crackhead, also known. My name is Javid, by the way. Hey, what's up, everyone?
You know, this is one of my favorite books of all
How would
time.
that be?
There's a little, I don't know, innuendo happening.
Really? I don't see it. I don't see it. You want to tell everybody about this book?
Let's just say we're excited about wood. And I'm here also with Ian from Hood Rat Comics. What's up?
Nothing much, man. You buying some wood?
I'm always interested in wood. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh man, hoodratcomics.com or Hoodrat Comics on Instagram.
What about your channel?
Oh yeah, www.hoodratcomics.com. That's my YouTube channel. You can come there and watch us talk about comics and all the good stuff that you guys do too, man.
I got to teach you how to hype yourself up. Hood Rat Comics every Monday night, 7 p.m.
8
Go.
8 o'clock p.m. every other Monday. We
Pacific.
do Pacific time. We do the Monday Night Comic Jive, man. Where Javid's on there too, and Dan De La Torre and Mindshift, and we bring you the trending comics, and we also bring you probably the best segment in YouTube with Dan De La Torre. That's Dan's Comic Corner, man. Dan's Comic Corner.
The best segment, maybe on YouTube. Fine. Bye. We'll see you there.
Take care.
Hey, I am here with Dan from. All right, let me show you this. Diesel Dan Comics.
Diesel Down Comics.
All right, and you guys have seen Dan on Instagram. If you have not, please follow him at Diesel Dan Comics. Hysterical, meme-based content. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say. I appreciate that too.
And
yeah.
why are you here today?
I'm here representing Shortbox.
I know them.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored by Shortbox, but hey, you know, little scratch gene would not hurt you.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Sorry?
Tell me all about it.
Okay, so Shortbox is a safe place to buy and sell your slabbed, graded comic books. Essentially, that's the big like what would you call it?
The selling point.
The selling point,
Yeah.
the slogan in a
Yeah.
way, right? So yeah, I mean, essentially that's it, right?
Uh-huh.
That's the you don't. I mean, the other sites, something could happen where a scam can happen. People might take a picture of one book and then you get a different one in the mail. Shortbox wants to eliminate that.
I can tell you, I, for the very first time, finally put some books up on Shortbox this week. And I sold a Ghost Rider number 1, 8.0 slab today, in fact. What's cool about it is you take a picture of the front, you take a picture of the back. They take 10% flat. You don't pay for shipping. Correct. You're protected. The buyer's protected. You just have to ship it in a 1095 box, and you're good to go, right?
You did. You sold it way better than me. I'm
like I said, Gene.
I'm sorry, Gene. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm not here to take anybody's gig. But you've got lots of swag happening here.
I'm almost out of swag too, so it's been doing really well today. Talked to a lot of people today and give away a lot of stuff. So it's
excellent. Well, Dan, great to meet you. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. I'm with Steven from
Comics with Bonix.
And if you've never seen his channel, you check it out. I'll have a link right here. What does this mean?
Louder.
Oh, okay. And tell everybody about your channel.
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, Comics with Bonix. You guys can look it up. I mostly release haul videos or CGC unboxings. I do go on hunting videos every now and then, mostly local Southern California area. So hope you guys like those type of videos. Check me out. I love this guy's channel right here. This is my booth right here. We're at Near Mint Sundays, so my booth and my family helping me out. But yeah, this is a great time. Show we have is amazing. The foot traffic here is amazing. Everybody is just glad to be out and about and looking at comic books again. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. Thank you so much.
So next time Near Mint Sundays comes around, I will give you guys a heads up. If you were here in Southern California, you can come check it out. Richard, I think it might even be worth a plane trip if it's not too expensive.
It looks interesting. I definitely want to come back out there and do another show with you. So that sounds like it's a good possibility.
Come on, Spirit Airlines.
Cattle cars in the skies.
Exactly. Oh, you wanted a seat? That's another $40. Time for our favorite segment, yours and ours, viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, what is your first piece of viewer mail this week?
My first piece is from Cult of Altus. Hey, I was wondering if you guys have any examples of a character appearing on a cover in a series prior to appearing in the actual issue. I'm sending in some books to grade, and Spike appears on the cover of X-Men Evolution #1, but doesn't appear until later, a later issue, actually inside the book. Yeah, when I read this, the first thing that came to mind is Deadpool's Secret Wars, #2, which has the first cover appearance of Gwenpool, which is the Spider-Gwen / Deadpool variant, let's just call her.
But was that before Howard the Duck #1?
It was before Howard the Duck #1.
Wow.
Yep. So she appears on the cover here. She does not appear in the book itself, but she does appear. Her first appearance in a book is in Howard the Duck #1.
Wow, I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head. That's a good one, but me, I'm more copper, bronze, silver guy, and I don't think there may have been an example where there was a book where the cover was drawn, but they missed the deadline and a reprint was inside instead, but I can't really think of one. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. I know there's got to be one in the Amazing Spider-Man somewhere, potentially Fantastic Four. But yeah.
My first piece of viewer mail is from Beer Marshall, who is talking about my trip to London, where I went funny book shopping, and I also saw the ABBA experience, or ABBA, depending on where you're from. Sounds like you were a real super trooper in your trip to London, John. When all is said and done, I went head over heels for your stories. It sounds like you spent a lot of money, and I hope that didn't make you out to have to send out an SOS. I hope this trip didn't end up being your Waterloo. Mamma mia. You must have had fun even reading about it was fun. Hasta mañana. Well, Beer Marshall, for anybody that didn't get all those references, those were all ABBA song titles. This comment made my week / month. I cracked up. I was going to come back with a whole bunch of song title puns myself, but I was too busy. I can't top yours. It was really good.
Oh, it was really good. I actually read Super Trooper and I thought of the movie,
Ah.
and I was kind of confused that I didn't read further until you actually read this. Excellent.
Well, that thing behind you over your shoulder is a Super Trooper. That is the spotlight. That's what they call the spotlights for concerts, is a Super Trooper, and that's what the song's about. She's sad because, usually she's on tour and she's lonely, but tonight her lover's in the audience, so the Super Trooper lights are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue like I always do, because somewhere in the crowd there's you. Enough ABBA, back to comics. What's your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from a friend of the show, Jason Brownell.
Brownell.
I
don't know. It's me saying hi, like, Brownell, what's up?
Jason asks, the year is already a bit more than halfway through. I hate that.
I know.
But you're right. How are your collector goals going?
Ooh.
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. I started this year with most of my collection being in a good place. In other words, the books that I absolutely had to have, I have. There are a number of books I would like to have, but the one book that I absolutely had to have and I waited to find was this book here, Miracle Man #1. This is the gold edition. In other words, this is the book that was signed by
Alan Moore.
Why can't I think of Alan Moore?
In other words,
this is the book that was signed by Alan Moore. There are 400 copies that he signed of the gold edition, and there are another 600 that he signed of what's called the blue edition. And it's gold and blue because the certificate of authenticity that came with it, the first 400 were gold, and then the second were blue. And the first 400 were numbered 1 through 400. This one happens to be numbered 234.
Do you want a blue one?
I take a blue one for completion's sake, but my goal was the gold one because it's one of 400 books that was available. I got this book raw, came with the COA. CGC doesn't take COA, so what it says on the label is name Alan Moore written on inside cover in ink.
Would that still say that with the new graders notes rule?
That's a very, very good question because that is the real identifying thing about this book. If it wasn't for that, it would be just a regular 9.4.
Right. Okay. Go on.
You see.
What else are you looking for?
I was looking for, I don't happen to have it here, looking for a was looking for a Hombre Araña 128, the Mexican variant that has basically Gwen Stacy's still alive. She doesn't die. Marries Peter Parker, and they have adventures together. This is a very famous Mexican variant or version of ASM. A real one, the original one is thousands of dollars, and they really come up often. When John went to Mexico previously, he found a copy of the La Mole version of it and sent me the La Mole version, which is a beautiful foil edition of the book. It's amazing. It is my realistic placeholder for that book. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford the original book, but it's a gorgeous book. So I count that as a check mark in my list.
The artist that drew those out of canon Gwen Stacy stories is a man named Jose Luis Duran. If you are a fan, I encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. You may be enjoying some more Jose Luis Duran news very soon. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit like while you're at it. Help us out. My next piece of viewer mail is from Lawrence Stokes, who writes, "Glad you enjoyed your trip to the UK, John. Forbidden Planet hasn't been a good shop for about 30 years. Okay. Those Alan Class reprints you bought at Gosh Comics were probably from the collection of Gary Leach, a much-loved UK artist who drew a lot for 2000 AD and Miracle Man for Warrior Magazine. He sadly died recently, and his personal comic collection was sold through Gosh.
Oh, wow.
I think those Alan Class reprints were his. Hope that doesn't freak you out. I think it's pretty cool. I bought some of the stuff myself. It does not freak me out whatsoever. In fact, it makes me super excited. I loved Gary Leach. I loved his work on Miracle Man specifically. They are the Alan Class reprints I bought are beautifully maintained, so that I'm sure they were from his collection. They have to be. They had 3 long boxes, I think, full of them. Yeah. So that is really good information. I'm super excited now. Thank you, Lawrence. Thanks for writing in and letting me know. That is
That makes you a steward of those comics. You're keeping
I know.
collection alive.
I'm trying. What's your next piece?
My next piece is from Monkey. I always enjoy seeing what new books you guys picked up recently. Any chance or interest in incorporating a mail call recent purchases segment into either Monday or the Mythical Friday shows? You both have different and distinct interests in the hobby, and I think it would be interesting to see what comics you've both picked up recently or are hunting. I think that's a great idea. That's something that we're going to talk about in our next conference call. We talk about the show format. But yeah, we both are constantly buying books, and it'd be great to be able to share that with.
Well, we do show and tell every now and then. We just haven't made it a regular thing. So here we are. It's time for show and tell. I can start. I recently got this from a live sale on Instagram. I don't remember who I got it from. I'm so bad. But something like you say, we have different tastes. I don't think Richard's going to have a copy of Comedy Comics number 34 featuring Margie and Nellie the Nurse. What is great about this is about, I would say, a 7.5 and 8.0. It's in beautiful condition for a book from 1946. It is a timely, and it has a really cool, a very funny Basil Wolverton story inside.
Okay.
In you 70s kids may remember Basil Wolverton from Plop magazine. He drew most of the covers for Plop magazine early on, and he is really a great artist. What do you have?
I went to. Oh, actually, I'll start with this one. Your book is from the 40s. This book is from the 30s, 1935. This is a pulp. A little
spicy.
Little bit of risque there, but if you actually read this is a famous artist here on the cover, and that's what you're really buying when you start buying pulps is you're buying the cover, because the artwork really is the story. If you were to read the inside of the book, it's basically a bunch of pictures. There's no nudity in this stuff. This is the 30s, for goodness sake.
A glance of stocking was considered shocking.
There is a whole section called the stocking section in this particular book. This is, to me, this kind of book, these regular art, classic pinup art books are the next coming thing. Just think about this book. This book is from 1935, so it has survived in an excellent condition all that time. It's amazing.
Compare that to Herogasm.
Yeah, right. I talk about being steward. I consider myself a steward of this book, and I will help preserve it in a way that will hopefully last another 75 years.
I thought of you today when I was at that Near Mint Sundays convention, because someone had a table, 2 long boxes full of pulps for $15 each.
Oh,
and I know you're dipping your toe into pulps.
I am. Too much of a toe.
Why is this? What inspired this?
I've always been interested in some of the amazing artwork that and the artists that put an effort into those covers, and their primary piece of work are these covers from the 30s, the 20s. I just want to preserve the fact that some of this work is out there, and there's a whole industry of people collecting pulps. It's been around for years. There's actually a pulp show here in the Cleveland area that happens every year. Yes, it's actually happens a couple times a year. The next one's in August. I'm going to go then. But no, I've always, you know me, I find the covers of comics sometimes the draw to a book. You know, the actual contents of the book aren't as important as like Young Alley 6, where you've got Art Adams doing that gorgeous Firestar. I actually never read the book. I just bought it for the cover and its rarity. And, you know, when you talk about some of these older books, the rarity is also a factor in it, especially since these books are called pulps because they were designed, you know, an inherent part of their design was their short life. So
Yeah.
to have them to survive all this time, it's an amazing accomplishment.
Do you have any interest in like the first Conan the Barbarian pulp or the first Tarzan?
Those books are probably out of my price range. If I have that kind of money to spend, I'm going to be buying a comic instead. But you know, as I come across these books and I don't have any rhyme or reason or pattern that I'm looking for, other than I know this particular artist I want to follow, and I'll focus on buying that artist's work. But yeah, big dollar books, I'm still going to be focusing on in my comic collection.
The focus on covers and your favorite artists is a good segue to my next book, which is House of Secrets number 12, which has this great Jack Kirby cover where, you know, these aliens send these diamonds and gems down because humans are so greedy. They're going to grab onto them and they're going to drag them into space. What? This is from a period where Jack was drawing for DC. He was doing some mystery stories. He was doing Challengers of the Unknown. Then he got into a little tiff with Jack Schiff, the editor, over some royalties over the Sky Masters comic strip, and then was left without a home and had to go knock on the door of Atlas Comics and ask his old buddy Stan Lee for a job. And the rest is history.
Awesome. My next book is actually I went on vacation 2 weeks ago to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Beautiful part of the country, especially during the summertime, spring when we went. First thing I always do, I go to Google and look up where is the closest comic book store.
We're the same person.
so I found this comic book store in the area, went out there, and I expected a touristy place. I wasn't really expecting anything. But on the wall, they had this, a Silver Surfer. It is in great shape. It's maybe be difficult to see here on the monitor, but it's in really, really good shape. Didn't have a price on it on the wall. So I'm buying a whole bunch of other books, which are nowhere near something like this. And so I asked because I was curious, well, how much is that book? And she looked at it and didn't have a price. So she went to the back office, comes back out and says, it's $200. And I said, I'll take it. So yeah, this book is, you know, if it grades out to where I think it is, which is going to be a 5.5 is where I would grade it. It needs a press because it's got a little bit of a on the spine here. It needs to be straightened out a little bit. It's probably a $1,200, $1,300 book at that point. So
wow.
Yeah,
traveling the country.
So I went back the next day and went looking, and they have wall books there as well.
Yeah.
They had this particular book. This is Aquaman number 42.
Oh wow, that Nick Cardy cover with
Isn't
the
that
logo.
gorgeous?
Yeah.
It's such a, I mean, people use the word iconic. I think this is definitely a very unique cover.
How did Aquaman get canceled right after this? I mean, the covers were so amazing. The one where he's tied to the giant's foot and it's coming down, and yeah, crazy.
$10.
Oh my gosh,
$10. It's probably $150 comic. I just love the cover. I immediately spotted it for this. You could see this cover from across the room.
Sure.
So just I picked up some other things, but nothing along the lines of those two books.
Well, earlier, Jason Brownell was asking us about our goals for the year, our collecting goals. It was an episode we did a few months ago at the beginning of the year where we talked about what we were going to focus on. And I've been really good. I have to, a little pat on the back there for myself. I got my Yellow Claw number 1 through 4, all of them. I even upgraded a couple of them since then. I got my Marvel Boy number 2, and recently I got an upgrade for my Astonishing number 3, which was Marvel Boy number 3. This is beautiful. Got this on a live sale with Super World, Ted at Super World Comics, 8.0 minimum. I mean, this is going to be, I think, the single highest graded once I send this in.
Wow.
If I send it, and I think I'm going to get this slabbed. I mean, who am I fooling?
Right.
Gorgeous. So my my 4.0, my undercopy is up for sale right now on Shortboxed. That's Shortbox, the app for all your collecting needs. The other part of my goals I have achieved was also from Ted at Super World, and that is Captain America 78. This is the last golden age issue, you could say, from the 50s. Guess what this guy's name is?
I don't know.
Electro. Yep. You can say Electro prototype. It's now worth $8 million. Beautiful copy. Tough book. 76, 77, and 78, all three are tough books. But this is another one. Check that I said I wanted to get those Marvel Atlas heroes, and I'm checking them off one by one.
It's gorgeous.
What you got next?
Yeah, my big goal for this year, reasonable goal, is Amazing Fantasy 15.
No.
Yeah. And the reason why is I figure if I don't buy it soon, I won't be able to afford it. So I have been squirreling money away. I don't have it yet. So don't expect me to pull it out.
I was waiting. What's going on?
But I am saving money for it. I'm looking for, the only grade I can afford is a 1.0. And even that's 30 grand. And it's just an unbelievable amount of money to pay for a comic book. I could buy a Miata, or I could buy a 15.
Trade your new kitchen for one.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So that goal is ongoing. I have another 6 months to try to fulfill that. So I am actively working on the funds and finding a book that's in that price range.
That is a nice teaser for our next live sale, probably coming up in a week. Make sure you
help me save money for my 15.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. It's funny you say that because I'm thinking the same thing. I've got to get books that I want now before they get unattainable. Now, there's no way I'm getting a Captain America Comics number 1. There's no way. That's out of the question. But other Cap keys, I want to get now before they get crazy. And I'm going through and I'm discovering some of these Captain America issues that I actually don't have gotten crazy out of control. One of them being Captain America number 180, the first appearance of Cap as Nomad. Somewhere along the line, this has become a $300 book. I don't know when, why, or how. And I noticed it when I was going to a few shows and seeing it on some walls. I'm like, when did this happen? When did Cap 180 become a $100 plus book? So of course I go to my boxes and 177, 178, 179, 181, 182. I'm like, why don't I have a Cap 180? So I saw a 9.2 and I grabbed it. I paid $250 for it. It's tough book and grade because of that black border, the black cover. And I thought, all right, I need to get this now before the moment passes me by. And just one more to share with everybody, talking about important keys to grab now while you still can and while they're affordable. You've heard me talk about this book over and over again. I finally got it back from our friends in Sarasota, and that is Strange Tales 101, the first Silver Age solo Human Torch. It's a 3.5 white pages. I got it for $300 from Harley Yee at Comic-Con last year, and it's beautiful, still undervalued. Again, Richard, this came out the same month as Fantastic Four number 7. Mm-hmm. So think about how much you would pay for a 3.5 of Fantastic Four number 7 and realize what a bargain this book is. Strange Tales 101, just a completely underrated Marvel key. It is still out there to be had.
Excellent.
I think I've used this segue before. How much was that book worth 25 years ago? I don't care. I'm using it again. It's the 25-year rule. Woo! Richard, this is all about you this week. You're cheating. I love it.
Why am I cheating?
This book is not from 1997, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, go on.
My book is Crime Suspense Stories number 22, the famous Axe issue.
Let me ask you a question. Did this come out in 1997, the reprint?
The reprint came out. It's cover. It says 98 on the cover.
Right.
That's February 98, which is late 97 when it actually
right.
But yeah, this is from 97. This is a reprint of the original EC Crime Suspense Stories, the famous issue with the decapitated head and the axe and the corpse laying there on the ground. One of my favorite books. Obviously, I got this 9/8. I actually have the whole set of 1 through 26, I think it is. Beautiful books. They're done by a company called Gemstone.
Of course.
Gemstone actually is the publisher of the Overstreet Price Guide.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
They had the Disney license for a long time and did Uncle Scrooge and things like that. And this was part of their deal in the 90s. Great quote from William M. Gaines, the publisher of EC Comics, when he was testifying in front of the Senate, and they held that book up. Go ahead and hold it up. One of the senators asked him if he thought this cover was tasteless, and William Gaines said no. And the senator said, well, what would make it tasteless then, Mr. Gaines? And Mr. Gaines replied, if there was blood dripping from the head.
Oh, the fine line he walks. Look at that blood on the axe. It's black.
Right. He's right. There's no blood dripping from the neck.
No.
You know, her tongue's hanging out and her eyes are rolled back. And
this is from this book was listed in the famous book
Seduction of the Innocent.
I can think of the innocent, but not the S. Seduction of the Innocent, which was a book that was used also in that trial to determine whether or not comics were obscene or not. The end result was the comic code that came out to vet the contents of comic books, their stories and art, and that continued for decades. So this is one of those books that is the cause of the comic code and the removing a lot of the horror and suspense from comics because they were considered obscene.
And the spicier romance titles. People forget the reason why the comic code came about is because comics back then were not purchased solely by children. They had a large adult audience. They had a large female audience, the Patsy Walkers of the world and the Katie Keens and the Archie titles and things like that. The problem was everything was racked together. So you had a cover like that, potentially a budding, Betty and Veronica number 50. Okay, bad example. But that was the issue. So the comics code was created as a way to tell parents, hey kids, this is fully wholesome. Please don't put us out of business. And yet it put scores and scores of publishers out of business. So very, very historical book for 1997. Fine.
Right. There are only 19 on the census right now. 11 of them are 9.8s. The last GPA sale for the book was $180 back in 2021. I believe the value of it has increased. So I think it would be hard to find a book for that 180. But if you could find them raw, they're great reads. Like I said, I have the whole set for suspense stories, and I've read them, and they're excellent, an excellent read of the history of comics.
For sure. And it's just the original is so out of reach price-wise, almost, like your Amazing Fantasy 15, not quite, but getting up there. So this is a nice alternative if you want to display it on your wall and have everybody think you're a psycho like Richard. Time for our underrated books of the week. My first underrated book, my only underrated book of the week is Mr. Miracle number 4. This, you can't tell from the cover except for mention on the bottom. This is the first appearance of none other than Big Barda. Big Barda. She's big, she's brash, she's beautiful, she's married. So hands off, fellas. Big Barda would go on to become a major character in the New Gods mythos. A 9.8 of this book, which is tough because this is one of those 48-page giants that DC was doing at the time. It sold in September of last year for $5,500.
Wow.
$500. Now, a more recent sale calmed down after the summer of explosions. It was in April for a 9.0 for $309, a significant difference there. Just 9.8s are so hard for this book.
Right.
But I will tell you, there are still deals to be had for this book out there raw. I have a raw copy that I think is honestly, it's a 9.4, 9.6 minimum. It might have an outside chance at a 9.8, and I think I paid $150 for it a couple of months ago. So yeah, be on the lookout. If you're a Kirby fan, if you're a New Gods fan, people are sleeping on Big Barda, I think.
My pick this week is Fantastic Four Annual, not number 2, but number 5.
Ooh,
This is
you
the first.
throwed us. Wait, I were waiting for you to say something about Dr. Doom, but go on.
No, there's no Doom in this book.
Okay.
This first appearance of Psycho Man. Psycho Man is a great villain. He is a part of a microscopic empire, and they run out of room and they're looking to expand. So he wants to invade the macrosphere, the our size. So he builds a set of armor. He's still tiny, but he has a set of armor that's human size. And it's the first solo Silver Surfer story is also in this book.
Yes.
But I love Psycho Man as a villain. I think he's a great villain. He works for Ant-Man because he has some adventures with Ant-Man. He works for the Fantastic Four.
He was in the Micronauts. He was a
Micronauts.
Micronauts.
Exactly. This book is dirt cheap in my opinion. Now a 9.8 is going to run you $2,800, but a 7.0 will run you $250, which to me is really reasonable. On the census, there's 24 9.8s out there out of 772 books. A raw, very fine book will run you about $100, and I think it's an interesting a possibility of a character for one of the future Marvel movies. But still, in all, I think it's a great character. New characters announced in these annuals are kind of rare. This to me is a book that deserves to be picked up and added to your collection.
I agree. This is a really good pick because not only do you have the first appearance of one of the last major Lee and Kirby FF villains. I mean, we're not going to count the monocle in issue 94. Major villain. Jack was phoning it in at that point. But you mentioned it in passing. I'm going to mention it even more. This is the first solo Silver Surfer story, folks, and it's by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. And it's going for $100. Very fine.
Right.
Why?
Right. Pick it up. It's one of those books you grab and you put in your long box or read it. This era of Fantastic Four. I love the Kirby stories. It's just something to really, really enjoy.
Incredibly undervalued. Great story with Quasimodo. I won't spoil it for you. But I can't believe you can get that book for $100 in decent shape, especially square bound. All sorts of things going in favor of that book. Good pick, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Stick around, like this video, hit subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. We've got a lot more coming up this summer. We're going to be on the road doing more reports, so stay with us. We love having you.
Everybody stay safe.